What are the best heists in Payday 2? What are the worst heists in Payday 2? Hello everyone and welcome to the video where I answered those questions, well, at least for me, and invite you to do the same. As of making this video, there are 75 heists in Payday 2. Holy shit. Well, on the PC, consoles are slightly less, and it's quite the feat to rank every single heist in order from worst to first. To go into detail about every single heist in the catalogue would make this video a few hours long, so I will attempt to give snippets of info and then move on. Just a few things before we get started. Of course, this list is super subjective. There is no chance that my list would ever in a million years be the same as yours. In fact, there could even be a possibility that my least favourite could be someone's favourite. So before any keyboard warriors crack their knuckles, please understand this. In fact, with there being 75 heists, that actually means that there are this many different combinations. So the chance of us being the same, well, let's say you've got more chance in winning the lottery 5 times in a row than matching my list. Also, in the making of this, I will not be including any nostalgic moments in the decision making, although they may be mentioned in the video. For example, remembering back to the first stealth you ever did, therefore that heist has to rank high. No, it doesn't, and it could have been a shit one, and you know it. I will also not be using the storyline as a meter of how good a heist is. It's about how enjoyable a heist is, and would you rather play it over another, not if the heist had a good plot twist somewhere. Okay, that being said, strap yourself in, make sure your seat is upright and your tray table is stowed, because here we go. Starting off at the bottom is really the honourable mentions, as they are duplicates of decent heists. Number 75, Bank Heist Deposit. Let's be honest, the bank heists are fun, original, simple mechanics and a good starter heist for stealth and loud. Maybe even your first heist ever played, but only deposit boxes? Nope, you don't choose this one, I don't choose this one, you choose gold or cash, not deposit, it sucks, it's pointless. Throwing in the random version next, totally garbage, not worth it, play cash or gold, random could give you deposit variations, why risk it? Okay, now getting into the actual heist worth talking about. Border crossing new for 2020 and a cheap shot to get back into Payday 2 paid DLC. You first notice how much of a mashup of heist assets this is and you start naming which things look familiar. Worst part is that day one, in air quotes, isn't a day, so if you do fail it in the second part, you have to redo the first. It's tedious and has no originality. Border Crystals is Border Crossing's slightly more attractive sibling, but still trash. Basically a worse version of Cook-Off that requires drills to get extra ingredients if you want them, get your achievements on this one and move on. Cursed Kill Room, I feel like this was a test to put time events in Payday 2 and has an odd mechanic. You can grind some masks on this one, but it's just a mess in such a small area. Half the people have no clue what's going on in it, so grab your masks and leave well alone. Safe House Nightmare is a good heist if you want to troll your friends that are new to Payday 2 and want them to wonder what the hell is going on. In reality, it's just 2 rooms and you get a slew of headless dozers and cloakers. If you don't get a restarting drill, it's awful, and if everyone takes the Commando rocket launcher, team kills become tedious. Bomb Forest is some people's least favourite, but I've had some good memories on playing with this with friends, but let's be honest, you don't play this for fun and you still end up tilting your head for most of it. Heisting on an incline or decline is a novelty, but after your first death just by jumping as you run, the novelty quickly wears off. Meltdown, as most people call it, Shadow Raid Loud, which it isn't. A version of Shadow Raid Loud is a good idea, but this is not. Having to move some of the heaviest loot in the game via forklifts and cars, of which can break, leaving you stranded, ain't no fun at all. It's nice to throw the car around in the ending portion, but as you know, driving mechanics aren't the best in this game, and turrets quickly destroy the car, pretty much ending your run on high difficulties. Transport Park is the first transport to appear on the list and, to me, is the worst one. Transports in general are a bit of a pain in that you literally have to use a specific build to be able to do them more efficiently, leaving gaps in your build from taking C4s and saws. Enemies spawn from every single direction here and there's barely any cover. Not one to go for if you want any fun at all. Transport Crossroads is pretty dull, to be honest. You end up sitting in a shop waiting for drills or your specific build again, only to be wrecked by snipers on the exit. 4 stores on lower difficulties can be done by simply placing an ECM on an ATM. Other than that, this one is just boring with very little going on. This is one of the older heists and it shows. What would be nice if it was updated to open up some of the streets around the corner and expand it, but that ain't happening. Ukrainian Job is the easiest stealth in the game. There's even an achievement for getting it done under 35 seconds. If you're new to stealth, this is the one for you to start on. I once even did this one blindfolded, enough said. Jewelry Store is the exact same level as the Ukrainian Job, just a slightly different version. No tiara, just bags on this one, and just as boring. Once you completed the Ukrainian Job, do this one, then take a nap. Nightclub is also an old heist, and one I do have some good memories on. The randomness, if there's cameras or not, makes people restart to make sure they get the easy version, so let's just make it either with or without, in my opinion. Stealth when there's cameras is a little tedious, and the lines of sight will get you when you're in the office. Stay off the dance floor, stay off the heist. Goat Simulator. Okay, who here thought this was going to be at the bottom? A lot of hate goes towards this heist, and although it's low on my list, it can be fun. I feel like if it had some tweaks, it could be way better. Go into this heist on death sentence with a bad crew or not know how it plays and you will not succeed. Going into this one knowing it may take a couple of tries and not get mad, you could have some fun. Bomb Dockyard is okay as a loud heist, nothing groundbreaking of course, and the stealth can and is a little tedious, having to search both sides of the yards for key cards, and then once the cards are in, there's a chance you have to ping pong between both sides again twice and gets annoying. Santa's Workshop has some good memories for me and I really like the music on this one, but the gameplay isn't that much fun. Having to babysit the gangsters as they package the loot is a nice touch, but again becomes annoying. On high difficulties you bunker down in a side room and it's hard to rotate as the gangsters get killed off. White Christmas is often a heist I forget about and rarely play. If I do play it, I don't hang around to go for more loot, and it's a let's just finish this one and move on because it's not that much fun. Lab Rats again has some good memories for me, and when it came out I could not get it done. I first completed it on the heist difficulty in a solo run, and is again one of those meme heists that not many people like, and if they don't know the strats then it quickly becomes a shit show. Definitely feels satisfying once you complete this one though. Aftershock to me has a cool level design and can be challenged with certain spawns of the armoured trucks. What makes this heist suffer the most is the toxic ending and getting 4 players into the van when there's an endless assault and the players are not invincible once they're in the van. The best strat is for 3 players to just go into custody and let 1 player finish. This ending part could be forgiven if the heist was amazing, but sadly it isn't. Breaking Feds is kind of just a blah heist with no real good feel to it. Maybe because you see the interior portion and realise you should be playing Hoxton Breakout instead of finding the right laptop and then searching an office at the end. It's just plain to me with no excitement or feeling. Go Bank is a nice challenge in stealth, but has the annoying factor of the phone calls and cops showing up. Yes, you can time your entrance to the vault through the lasers, but then there's nothing worse than that phone ringing when you're in there. Doing this loud is fun unless you need to get to the streets for bags or the loot drop off, and after all these years I still get lost in the damn sewers. Henry's Rock, one of the most recent heists that has some good elements but feels like a shitstorm at times. It can be challenging and some of the rooms you are directed to for the next steps are just horrible, so you can have an easy time or a real bad time. Hell's Island is again one of the heists that is borderline okay. Once you pass the onslaught at the very beginning you have a soft middle portion and then a further onslaught at the end. Like an ice cream sandwich, but not really. Prison Nightmare, what I like about this heist is the feeling of it. It's very atmospheric and gets it right. Who doesn't love a huge cloak or two? This again is one of those that you can jump into and try and get done as fast as possible, but soak up that Halloween feeling if you're doing it. Transport Downtown lands a little further up the list from the other ones and has a better feel to it, incorporating larger office buildings and more depth. Sadly, the same applies with using unique builds for these heists or suffer from drilling each van for a couple of minutes and lockpicking. Transport Harbor is again similar and a judgment call whether it's better or worse than Downtown. Same can be said for Underpass. The only upside to this one is again the atmosphere and the location feeling more genuine than the others, suffering again from the usual transport misfortunes. Art Gallery is simple and plain, and again a good heist on the stealth ladder to improvement. Also serving as the day one to the frame-in-frame heist, this one offers a standard building with a couple of different ways in and has a very simple layout. Loud on this heist is just a waiting game and not really much fun at all. Diamond Store was once one of my most played heists as I used it a ton to level up during all my account resets. It has a cool element of stealth with timing kills and making sure the guard doesn't go to the camera room if it's spawned. Bad parts are the amount of bags needed to secure and the sheer amount of civilians. In Loud, running those bags to the van can be annoying also. Greenbridge is the first classic heist on this list and can be enjoyable. The sad part is that you and your team are relegated to all hiding in the same spot behind the stairs while you wait for the drills. Not very dynamic, but the difficulty of it will bring you back for sure. The moving of the prisoner can be annoying if not timed well, and the top of the structure waiting for the pickup can be fun, just the sprint to the finish can sometimes yield some frustration. Heat Street is another classic from the original Payday game. There is a lot of fun to be had with this one, but again some frustration if not timed right. The last street, probably why it's named the way it is, can be a shit show, as can be the starting run to the first holdout section, but again the difficulty can be rewarding. Brooklyn 1010 has a good feel to it and I like the level design. The beginning part can be a little bit of a shit show, in fact so can the after part, but I like the dynamic of having to take care of targets during the gameplay. Transport Train, let's get this straight. Doing this loud is pretty bad, but the stealth is a nice challenge. There is of course the strategy of killing all civs and enemies in the lumberyard and using ECMs and drills to open the train cars, or even a saw if you keep an eye on the guard paths. Bag moving is always a pleasure on this one. The biker heist, I think having objectives within a heist is good, especially when they are randomized. I really like day 2 of this heist even though it can be a challenge sometimes. The flow of it, the visuals and the gameplay are like nothing else seen on any other heist, and for that alone it gets it higher on the list. Bank Heist Cash ranking a little higher than its pointless brethren, Deposit and Random. Bank Heists are classic, a good learner stealth and good learner at loud heists for higher difficulties. Once you know the mechanics well enough you shouldn't ever fail this one, and it's a good heist for the 10% stealth bonus. Gold version just because gold gives you more XP and all the other points are identical. With more crashes, I visually and spatially love this heist, and it's a great mechanic to smash up the place to a certain cost and then the escape triggers. Stealth in this non-stealth heist is fun, and you should try it if you want to challenge yourself after the basic stealth heists. Cookoff is Rat's younger brother and is the heist I recommend to everyone asking how to level up fast if you don't want to hack your way with crime sprees. Identical to Rat's Day 1, but with unlimited cooking by the way of signaling for more ingredients, this one is close quartered and if contained is a lot of fun. Brooklyn Bank should have a stealth option to be honest, and that would land it higher up the list, but it's a simple heist and lands near the middle of the pack. Shacklethorne Auction is a nice looking heist and has a nice layout. Lots of loot if you want to challenge yourself, and a really stinky achievement in Auction Cry if you really want to actually cry. Car Shop has the driving dynamic that is pretty terrible, but it's a simple heist and is fun to complete and can usually be done pretty quickly. Also a blast to do this with friends and try and get all cars secured. Breakfast in Tijuana is the brand new heist, well, at least around the time this video was produced, so for now it lands in the middle. It doesn't have a familiar feel like the border crossing heist, so has some originality, but suffers from being way too easy when played loud, and is kinda tedious when stealth. Having many guards in such a small area plus roaming civs and cameras gets a little annoying for an impatient stealther. Alaskan Deal is again a middle of the road heist. Nothing bad to say, but nothing particularly good either. This was a turning point in the storyline regarding luck, so that was nice and the gameplay is pretty fluid here. Reservoir Dogs still confuses me about Day 2 being Day 1 and Day 1 being Day 2, but whatever. I love the Tarantino movie of the same name, and the warehouse portion is a lot of fun. The second day, which is Day 1, could have a little more action in the mall section when you're running to the escape, but again, it plays well. No Mercy is a classic from Payday the Heist, in which most of the time you want to stealth the first part, but always manage to screw it up. The heist is close quarters, so good for pretty much any perk deck with all the rooms you get covering. It's annoying if you get down while holding the vial needed to escape, but a nice touch to make you play careful when you have it. Election Day has some good elements with the alternate Day 2, which is a lot of fun. Tag the right truck and get the warehouse, tag the wrong truck and get Plan C. If you want to play stealth, then I prefer the warehouse, and if you want to go loud, I prefer the Plan C day. Frame in Frame is one long heist if you have the time, and also the high stealth bonus if you complete all 3 days stealth. Day 1 is a short version of the art gallery heist, just needing 4 paintings here. Day 2 is bad, just moving bags with a minute chance of it going loud. And then Day 3 to me is the duel. Challenge to get all loot in stealth, particularly if you have the main room vault. Please don't restart if you don't get the bedroom spawn. Alesso is a cool stealth heist and is a huge map. Once you know it, it will take out the frustration of knowing where to find all the C4 closets. If you don't know the layout, this one can take forever. And doing this heist fully pacifist and using no pages is a huge challenge. Doing this loud is also a lot of fun, but also a lot of bags. Diamond Heist is another classic that got ported over and is true to the original. I do actually prefer the feeling of the original to this clone, and the newer version is way easier given the updated stealth mechanics and builds you can now take. Stealing Christmas is another heist that feels like it should have a stealth version. Feels good heisting again in a mall with a big Christmas tree, doing a couple of objectives and ending with action on the roof to plant C4s and then eventually escape. It has a good flow and is a lot of fun. Workstation is a great stealth-only heist. Great atmosphere, nice gameplay, and not too crazy with the guards. The drone cameras are a nice idea, but will catch you out if you're not careful. I like the idea of finding 4 different items in order to get all the loot. All loot can take a while, or you can just rush by, just going for the main loot needed to escape. White House and the supernatural ending to Payday 2. It's a tricky little stealth heist, in particular the ending part with a computer hack and 3 guards. But come on, we're in the White House here. That alone is cool. Only more cool would be on Air Force One or the Eiffel Tower or some shit. While some get performance issues on this one, it's a fun heist, loud or stealth, and you'll have to meet certain achievement criteria in order to access the secret ending. And then you have to crack the secret ending, so it's all kinda cool, even if it's a little over the top for a bank robbing game. Scarface Mansion, what a great iconic movie and a good heist to go along with it. Was introduced with a character pack and a great addition to loud and stealth heists. Stealthing this can take some time as there are a ton of guards. It's quite easy to mess up once inside the mansion. Loud is a lot of fun, music is awesome, and the escape can be brutal depending on which route you get. The San Martin Bank was one of the more recent heists and was welcomed after the Border Crossing DLC. Where Border Crossing was a mismatch of prior heists, San Martin came with a brand new feel and great gameplay both stealth and loud. It's a little on the easy side when played on loud, but still fun. The visuals outside look great. Entering the top 20 now with Watch Dogs, an oldie but goodie. Good memories with this one from years ago, but it has a great Day 1 and a fun Day 2. Day 1 is always one of those where you want to get to the armoured car and leave fast, but not everyone gets there on time. Then you find a spot to hide, only to find the escape is across on the opposite side. Day 2 is relatively easier but fun, keeping ground behind crates and in the warehouse. Counterfeit, yet another classic from the original Payday game. Recently found to be stealthable using a glitch, the heist is a lot of fun. Do not play this loud for XP as it's garbage and takes forever. Running between 2 houses into the garden, down the basement and looking out for snipers is really cool. Panic Room lets keep the old classics going here. Only one annoying thing for me in this heist is the snipers on the roof. But it's a challenge, so go after them fast. You can drag this heist on forever if you don't risk it and go after them. So many different levels on this heist and lots of chaos and lots of fun. Rats. So Cook-Off is day 1, day 2 is an amazing challenge if you want to try and take out all the gangsters in stealth, one of my total favourites, and then day 3 is all about blaming someone for blowing up the bus. This was always my go-to for huge XP after a frame-in-frame stealth. A 25% stealth bonus on an all-loot 7 bags run on Death Wish was the good old days. Boiling Point is a really cool heist, being out in the snow with a little cover but not too much. The heist can be a little easy and there's something about the damage certain enemies do on this heist, but as far as it plays, it's a lot of fun. Firestarter is again a classic for Payday 2, one of the other 3-day heists. Day 1 stealth is the ultimate challenge if you want to try it. Loud is a quick day if you take a saw. Day 2 is a good stealth heist with some nice achievements to get, and day 3 is your standard bank heist with a slight twist. You always have to tell your teammate that the electric is off so they place the drill. Big Oil plays extremely well. Day 1 is annoying to do loud, so it's almost just a filler to get to day 2. Place down an ECM and rush it, or stealth it, fall for a challenge. Day 2 is a good loud and hope you don't have to drill all 3 doors. Dr. Miserable is a fun achievement to do, especially on Death Sentence 1 down. Hoxton Revenge is a fun stealth heist and a pretty easy loud heist. Again, this heist on loud can be done with pretty much any perk deck as it's super close quarters and has lots of cover. The visuals on this heist are nice, a big house with plenty of security. This was the heist with a Hector plot twist and will always be a classic. Beneath the Mountain is a great addition that can offer a challenge. The latter part of this heist can be tricky and also a lot of fun. Planting C4s, securing loot, and refueling a chopper are the steps. Getting everyone into the chopper at the end is a nightmare on higher difficulties and can often result in failure at the last moment, but makes the success even more rewarding. Golden Green Casino is an awesome stealth heist which isn't the most simple and why it lands here. The heist looks great and there's even an Elvis on this map. When done loud it can be a little annoying, but it's still a lot of fun. Lots of bag moving if done stealth and you want all loot, but totally worth it. Take in the sights and sounds of a replica Vegas casino. The top 10 starts now. The Diamond is an awesome stealth heist and for me one of the best looking heists in the game. The room with the puzzle and the room before that look amazing in this game. The dynamics of the heist are really good, and who doesn't love a good timed puzzle to spice things up? Sure, you can spend 30 minutes running the electric panel to get a straight line, but give yourself a challenge and try a tough one. All loot on this is fun and challenging. Doing this heist loud is also a blast with some long lines of sight and also some tight hallways. Slaughterhouse is a great loud heist. Nothing beats heisting around dead pigs. Hell, if you find the right one, you can even take it with you. This heist has one of the best flows in the game. Drill in one area, move the bags using conveyors to another area, snipers appear, secure the bags, start the crane, hold out and then run for it. First World Bank is a simple stealth heist once you know the heist, but again looks great. Loud is relatively standard, but when we activate Overdrill is when this heist becomes the superstar. Overdrill being the 33-minute long drill to access 60 plus more bags of gold. Done fast it will take you around an hour to complete, but so worth it. Lots of fun to play with your friends and one I always go back to. Undercover is not a lot of people's favourite, but I really like this one. I enjoy the different levels and rooms, and it's a heist where you can rack up a ton of kills and really take the fight to your enemies. It's certainly not the most difficult heist, but looks good and is a ton of fun. The Yacht Heist is an amazing stealth-only heist. The challenge of finding all the loot on the levels indicated along with the mood and feeling of this heist helped a lot by the soundtrack that accompanies it. The speedrun achievement solo is a good challenge, but before you rush through this one, sit back and enjoy the ambience. Hotline Miami is a true classic. Which day is your favourite, 1 or 2? Day 2 feels more chaotic and I prefer it, but day 1 is also a ton of fun in the motel rooms and parking lot. Birth the Sky is one of the heists I've done most on Death Sentence, but I struggled with this when it first came out all those years ago. I love the map design on this heist. Couple that with the beginning in the plane and then the treacherous sewers and the boat ride at the end. So many good stream memories on this heist, but more importantly, it's just the flow of getting those damn pallets secured. You also can't beat the voice acting in this one, with Locke throwing out some of the best lines in Payday 2. Shadow Raid was almost my number 1 on this list. If only it had a loud variation, no, not Meltdown. But then I think about it, and maybe that's what in part makes Shadow Raid even more special, is the fact that it's stealth only. For me, this has one of the best soundtracks in the game, and it's so mild. This heist has by far the best atmosphere in the game, hands down, and all loot runs are just so much fun. Getting the samurai armor on a solo run is a complete blast, and who doesn't like hearing Odu Nabunaga? Hoxton Breakout is an ultimate classic and one that many players regard as their favourite. I recently did this entire heist solo on Death Sentence 1 down with no bots, no downs, and it was a ton of fun and quite the challenge. Day 1 is awesome, moving the truck along the road, taking cover and completing mini tasks to keep going, ending up in the parking garage to find the spinning dozer. Day 2 is equal to Day 1, taking about 20 minutes to complete all the objectives it throws at you. So close to being my number 1 heist, well, it's almost a tie to be completely honest. Number 1 is the Big Bang. This one is totally awesome. Stealth and Loud are both a ton of fun. Not only does this heist look great in relation to the other ones, but the variations of play make this one of the heists that has pre-planning discussions. What escape are we getting? Thermite or drill? Stealth or loud? Stealth as much as we can? You get the computer hack, I'll search for the PC. You go upstairs and open the door, you find the manager and I'll get the loose key cards. All of this makes for a dynamic heist even within the confines of the Payday 2 game. My hope is that more pre-planning mechanics are added to future Payday games as it really helps solidify teamwork and objectives. The stealth on this one is equally as fun as loud. Trying for a solo all loot run stealth with a saw is a great challenge, and once you have your strategy down, it's just a matter of executing it. Whew, so there it is, 75 heists from worst to first. That was a lot of fun, but also a lot of work. If you got this far, please make sure you hit the like button and please leave in the comments what your favourite heist is and also what is your least favourite. Anyways, I look forward to reading your favourite and worst heist in the comment, and remember the most important thing will always be